Along the pathway of life, it is common to encounter bends in the road. These events are often unexpected, but we are still faced with choices. Which way should we go? How will we allow this event to affect our lives and those around us? Whether it is the death of a loved one, loss of employment, or a divorce, UVU's Turning Point, the Center for Personal and Career Development, can help. Turning Point is a community and university resource for individuals, both female and male, who want to improve on a personal, educational, and/or professional level. Some of these services include classes in successful life management, personal development, professional development, anger management, parenting, managing life transitions. The program also offers scholarships, emotional support, marriage and pre-marriage workshops, counseling, women's professional clothing source, referrals to community resources and services, child care referrals to the Turning Point We Care Center. Dealing with life's challenges can be difficult, and it is easy to feel alone. We would like to introduce you to a few individuals who have benefited from Turning Point services and changed their lives for the better. Tracy Cutler came to Turning Point following a divorce that ended a lengthy marriage. She knew she needed to work to support her children, but she had doubts about her prospects, despite having completed a bachelor's degree.
After a 23-year marriage, I was divorced, and I had a degree in interior design, and I was a good interior designer, but the economy had just taken a dive. But I went to these classes, and I realized what I had gone through was very common. And one of my favorite classes was they showed a movie about these people who had basically reinvented themselves. It was just these people's testimonies of how they transformed themselves because their lives had had a major change. I never had it on the radar to ever write a book, and I'm really glad I did, because after having gone through the experience, it's really rewarding to have people come to me and say, "Thank you for writing the book. It's made a huge difference in my life." So I have Turning Point to thank for that.
While some Turning Point clients arrive having already achieved their educational goals, others come lacking the education they need to be successful. For example, immigrant Christina Pianazzolo wasn't sure she could make it in America with the equivalent of just a fourth-grade education.
I found myself divorced with 2 small children in the United States without any previous training or marketable skills. So I came to Turning Point to try to figure out what to do with my life.
Although assessment revealed she was far behind, Christina enrolled at UVU and approached Turning Point with the hope of ultimately attending law school. With several scholarships under her belt, and with the help of Turning Point, Christina was able to finish her bachelor's degree and then attend Brigham Young University Law School, where she realized her dream of becoming an attorney.
They made me realize the sky's the limit, that I had boxed myself in and had very narrow view of what the future could offer, where they opened the box for me and kind of let me see that really it's a matter of what I want to do, not a matter of just what I can do. And they helped me sort that out, and they also helped me to realize that you have to shoot for the moon even if you then just hit the stars. But my original goal was that I thought if I had a little training, I may be able to help in a classroom with special needs children. But they made us do these exercises about our dreams and stuff, and I wanted to be an attorney.
After leaving an abusive marriage, Mary Wilson moved to Utah and came to Turning Point seeking services.
I was in a 20-year marriage, and it had ended, and I found myself in Utah after living in Minnesota and Michigan my whole life. Had no friends, no family, and I was just scared.
Then Mary's family endured 2 tragedies.
I have always wanted to be a nurse, and I originally decided to go back for nursing, and right before I applied, my son got hit by a van, and I got scared and went into dental lab technician instead. Then 4 months after I started working as a dental lab tech, my youngest son got brain cancer.
In both cases, Mary spent countless hours administering medical care to her children. From these experiences, Mary realized she was destined for a career in nursing. However, without the financial means to pay for an education, she came to Turning Point seeking scholarship assistance.
It has not been an easy road, but it's been made a lot easier through scholarships that I've received through the Turning Point. So it made it so that I could go to school full-time and not have to work outside the home. I have received my associate in science and my associate in nursing, and I did pass my boards and I am an RN, but I am going to continue on for 2 more semesters to get my bachelor's in nursing.
Turning Point isn't just for women. It also provides services to couples, either prior to marriage or those already married who want to improve their communication skills. Turning Point's licensed marriage and family therapist offers a marriage workshop and counseling services to those who want to strengthen their relationships. After a failed first marriage, Mary Folk found she had a difficult time trusting people. Friends who had been to Turning Point suggested that she see if the program would help her.
Well, I knew that I wanted to get married again, and I actually came because I had gone on some dates, and Eric and I had actually dated beforehand, but I figured I knew what I wanted, but everyone that I dated, I was not trusting them. I would compare things with my previous marriage. I've always been a little bit scared to say how I feel or how or what I think about things, or I usually just feel like, oh, I'll just ignore it, it'll go away. And I feel like that the number one thing that has helped me is that you can't be afraid to say how you feel, and you need to express certain wants and needs so that the other person can actually understand you and they can't read your mind.
Just that first time was just great, and so I just kept coming and kept learning as much as I could to help better myself as well as help me understand people around me.
Turning Point also offers classes in other areas of personal development, including one in anger management.
I initially had come because I had lost a job, basically due to me overreacting to a situation. A lot of people find themselves, having the same questions as I did, such as, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel like I'm stressed all the time?
Steve Teschner noticed that he was frequently involved in confrontations, and as a result, he was jeopardizing some important relationships. Wanting help in controlling his inappropriate responses, he sought out the anger management class offered by Turning Point.
I had noticed that I'd had some even issues with relationships, with family, with my girlfriend of 2.5 years. It caused a lot of pain, a lot of worry. Even with my parents, I didn't even want to see my parents anymore. I didn't want to talk to them. My brother, who has been my best friend for a long time, I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't have a job because, again, how I had reacted. So my ability to relate to people and understand them and their situations and understand that I'm not always right, and even if I was right, it doesn't matter because everybody's got their own life. So my relationships have just, it's crazy to see the difference. If I hadn't been here, I honestly don't know where I'd be right now.
Sometimes it isn't a lack of confidence or education that holds people back. Sometimes it is inadequate child care or the inability to pay for it that is a stumbling block to success. As a student and single parent, one of Tara Wagstaff's primary concerns was being able to provide affordable child care for her young children while she attended classes.
While I was at Turning Point, I used, they had counseling available. I took a couple of their classes and I used their We Care child care system, which was a lifesaver. I was terrified to leave my kids with anybody, daycare, babysitter, nanny, it didn't matter. I'd just gotten divorced. I never had really been away from my kids before. I didn't have any family around, and I was really nervous that something was going to happen and I wouldn't be there for them. Turning Point was really helpful in it because they had a lot of the good things to say about We Care, and I had developed so much trust for everyone at Turning Point at that point that turning the kids over to We Care on their word was a lot easier to do. Turning Point was a good support from every single angle, emotionally, mentally, everything with my education, finances, childcare. I felt like I had a friend at Turning Point.
Some people just need to be pointed in the right direction. Allison Hurst faced the prospect of being a single parent to her 3 children, 2 of whom have autism. At first, she didn't know where to turn. Recalling an earlier conversation she had with an acquaintance who had told her about Turning Point services, Allison made a phone call. Her first words to the person who answered the phone were, "What should I do?"
I had the thought that, well, since I have these children with autism, and I've always been able to be an advocate for them, well, maybe I should be a social worker. But I was able to kind of broaden a little bit of my view. I learned that my ex-husband was the other person who loved my children as much as I did, and that I could work with him, and if he felt like he was a contributing parent, he was going to help. I didn't have to do this all alone. I didn't have to be the single parent who did everything. I could rely on him. Now, in some situations with some women, that's not possible, but in my situation, his help was invaluable, especially when I started my master's degree. I see a lot of women who first start school, and I tell them about Turning Point because I'm now a career and academic counselor. I was able to finish my master's degree, but they always say, well, I'm so busy with working, or there's no way I could go to school, or there's no way I can go to the classes because I don't have time. You have to make the time, because going to the classes help prepare you to be able to be successful in school.
Some Turning Point participants need a listening ear. Dontrell Morrow grew up in less than ideal circumstances. When he started school at UVU, he found that some of his past experiences were interfering with his academic success.
You've heard the phrase, you're your own worst enemy. So me being my own worst enemy would always think the moment something didn't go right or I didn't understand something, that meant I should quit, that I was a failure. I came from Texas. I hadn't been here very long, and then I decided that I didn't know if I could manage school. I have had a problem with anxieties just in general, not just with school, but just in general. And I thought that, me starting school would end in a big epic failure. That was changed when I came here and decided to use my wonderful academic counselor, Allison Hurst. She suggested that I come here, and I'm so glad she did. From day one, I felt like there was hope.
Wanting to come to terms with his past, he began receiving counseling services from the Turning Point therapist.
My counselor, Ashley, he's amazing. It's been a wild ride, but it's been very good. Through working with him, my anxieties have decreased so much to the point I can see myself excelling in my grades. I recently got involved with several clubs on campus, one being Phi Theta Kappa, which is an honor roll club. I was surprised when they even came to me with that offer, that my grades were so fantastic. I knew that if I didn't try, that I would never know what I could accomplish.
For each of these individuals, Turning Point made a real difference in their lives. All learned about themselves and made the best of an adverse situation. These services are available to anyone in need: men, women, low income, or those with plenty. Difficult situations can happen at any time and to anyone. Turning Point can help smooth out some of the bumps along the way. Many community leaders look for resources to help people get back on their feet. Barbara Levitt, Director of Community Impact for United Way in Utah County, notes that many families have benefited from Turning Point's broad range of services.
We at United Way refer several people to the Turning Point services, and we find that they've had a very positive experience as they've come over here. And not just those families in crisis, but families throughout the entire community. Our community, we need our community, and our community needs us. I know Turning Point has a lot of information on their website, but there are people who are at a point where they're feeling they need a lot of extra help. That would be an individual to Turning Point, but I also would refer someone who's feeling like they need to make some advances in their life and they're just not sure which way to go. And once they get to Turning Point, they get direction.
The cornerstone of the Turning Point philosophy states that when people are given good information, they will design success for themselves. Classes and services offered at Turning Point do exactly that by encouraging participants to overcome difficulty, regain confidence, and choose the path that is best for them.
It's just brought us a lot closer together.
When I went there to Turning Point, I felt like I instantly had a group of friends and instantly had a group of people who were watching my back, and I felt like the counseling services that I received gave me the tools I needed to start building those things for myself.
I never came to class and felt like it had been a waste of my time. The teachers were well prepared. The material was inspired. And I loved being in the class and hearing other people's stories. I got strength from my classmates.
Turning Point helped me to be able to work on myself, to make sure that I could be happy, that I could be a successful student, I could support my family, and I could have a great life.
The emotional support has been the most important. Because my parents have passed away, I had to go through the brain cancer and my son's getting hit by a van and my daughter's lupus all by myself. And I needed somebody to just vent. Sometimes you just need to have someone to talk to. Because as a mom, you're gotta be the strong one. So there was someone I could go to and cry, someone that would hug me.
We almost became like just best friends through the experience. You know, it was just great to see improvements in people's lives. I could not believe how great it was.
Well, I'd just say if you just wanna be happier, check it out.